So, in this video, I want to talk about the newly released lore book called The Hymns of the Far North, which you may have already heard of at this point, since it seems like everybody in the lore community is talking about it. This singular lore book is probably one of the most important lore pieces ever released, if not the most important one, ever since the Forbidden Text Before Sun and Moon. It mentions all the shades, the heavenly principles, Dragon King Nibelung, the legendary Voyager, and even reveals who the third descender is. It's basically a series of prayers from a very distant past aimed at all the divine beings of Teyvat. The Far North mentioned in the title refers to the ancient golden city of Hyperborea, and since the Frostmoon Scions are their descendants, they pass down these prayers in form of texts. But a lot of the prayers they use nowadays have been heavily modified, and they are very different from the original. Some parts of the text are also missing, but most of it seems to be intact. But first, before I start with the lore, there's a disclaimer as always. This video obviously contains some spoilers, even though it's mostly for the background lore, rather than the actual story. There is still some lore in nod-krai that I have yet to explore, so if I missed anything in this video, please let me know in the comment section. Now, the way I want to do this is that I will read the text and then explain the lore behind each important part. There won't be that many speculations involved here, since I think others already made great theories and such, so this will be more of an explanation. In the first part, they say, "O lips, now voice a solemn hymn for me, to speak the North's old warnings, low and high. I've left my land, my native shores, departed home and wandered far, through realms unknown, where none may know my name, across a barren land, long lost to fame. Bleak tundras find rest in deep water's wake, only snow dances upon the thousand lakes. Yet still the moonlight bathes the path I trace, the wind still brushed the sorrow from my face. Let me think of how the moon first kissed the land, let me chant the verse that drives back evil bands." I guess this part is about the era when the golden city of Hyperborea fell after the fall of the divine nail, and the Scions of Hyperborea wandered the land until they finally decided to settle down on Hisi Island. The last part probably refers to the fact that the only one who was saddened by the tragedy that happened in Hyperborea was the Frostmoon. Even though such a great tragedy happened back then, no other god reacted to it at all, which is also why the Scions of Hyperborea decided to follow the Frostmoon in the end. I praise the rivers raging strong, and praise the peaks that range ever on. I praise the bronze-bound ship of Seutervoinen, and the golden arrows of Ianikuinen unbroken. The Seutervoinen mentioned here is the legendary Voyager, a cosmic being akin to a traveling scholar who met with the Dragon King Nibelung in the distant past, who is also called Ianikuinen in this text, and told him how his world would be devoured by the darkness in the future, so he should travel with her beyond the stars instead. But he replied that he will stay with his race of dragons, and if the world is to be destroyed, he will take his people toward the stars. Anyway, the Voyager much later returned to Teyvat, but found it completely changed, and not only were the dragons gone, the world was ruled by the heavenly principles together with the four shades, and it was hidden beneath the false sky. She decided to break the rules of her kin and ventured into the golden city of Hyperborea in the possessed body of a young man. Inside, people were arguing about having angered the gods by praying into what they weren't supposed to. But the Voyager challenged their argument, and so they eventually sent her down into the depths to seek answers from the first angel. Upon meeting the Voyager, however, the angel fell in love with the young man, and together they decided to rebel against the heavenly principles that shackled them. They plotted their rebellion against the divine in the golden city of Hyperborea, but were eventually stopped by the celestial nail that fell from the sky, and Hyperborea was eventually destroyed in this terrible catastrophe. It seems like the bronze-bound ship could either be a thing that the Voyager used to travel the cosmos in the distant past, or it could just be a metaphor for something we have yet to discover. The same can be said about the golden arrows of Nibelung, because I don't remember these ever being mentioned before. I curse the poisonous plot of Pakai Suko and decry Pohyola's calamity forevermore. My prayer, a sacred word from heaven above, sang to my forebears by envoys beloved. But fate is in the end like a fleeting dream, and death, like waters clear, drowns every eye. So long as moonlight hangs in this prison on high, I cannot return to home beloved, even if it be nigh. Pakai Suko is most likely the Pale Tsar, aka the White Tsar, who was also the previous Cryo Archon. And Pohyola is probably some sort of location, and that's also what it sounds like in this text. It could be another name for Snezhnaya, or at least a part of Snezhnaya, but it's hard to say without any confirmation. Anyway, it seems like Pakai Suko didn't have access to it at first for some reason, and wanted it to be opened, but more on that later. Where golden light soft through verdant crown shines, where dawn stars in silver array the pines. O heirs of Hyperborea, mark this song, etch it in your minds, fast and strong. Seek not to thread the sly fox path's slight, nor yearn for the great bear's haughty might. But so long as hymn and rune ring, the far north shall endure and eternal spring. The Dawnstar mentioned here likely refers to the first angel, one of the divine envoys of the heavenly principles, as this is how she is called sometimes. This part of the prayer seems to be something like a warning not to seek the heavenly principles. Song 1, Pitkamoonen, Lord of the Seven Calamities. O Supreme Lord of the Sky, merciless and indomitable, Father of all and Mother of the gods, we offer these sacrifices to appease your jealousy, lest your wrath blaze against the earth. O capricious winged one, fierce king who lays waste to nations, God of the unyielding heart, O God of gender unknowable, we plead that you turn from the mortal realm and the children of the farthest north. The winged one mentioned here obviously refers to the primordial one, who is also called Pitkamoonen, Lord of the Seven Calamities. And even though I often refer to the primordial one as him, for various reasons, in the forbidden text before Sun and Moon, it was said that he was androgynous in nature, so all of this checks out. The Seven Calamities here should refer to the seven divine thrones, and also the seven gnosis forged by the heavenly principles. It may also refer to the seven forms of elemental energies we know of today, that are said to have been created by Celestia as well. You have shattered the order of the old laws, and offered shelter to mortals, and yet blanked them. You have shaken the ancient dwellings of the Eternals, blanked their wings, and laid wares to their blanks. You are the god of retribution, the vengeful deity. Your will is absolute beneath the moon, never to be disobeyed. In heaven and earth, your blade, blank, drinking dry the blank of the wicked and the innocent. O blank and blank king, before you, the gods are as mere mortals, and mortals no more than insects. No one dare speak your name, for you shall blank all who know it. Well, we know that the heavenly principles did indeed shatter the old laws and recreated the horde of Teyvat for humans. Nibelung's old reign was replaced by the primordial one, and the new order established by him seems very strict about the rules, which is also reflected in this prayer. No one dares to speak the primordial one's true name, but it is said to be Phanes, at least in the forbidden text, though it's true that it's not mentioned anywhere else except in Before Sun and Moon. This was also true for the four shades in the past, but nowadays, mentioning some of their names seems fine for various reasons that I don't want to delve into in this video. But O pure and wrathful God, we humbly ask you to accept this offering. May the frost moon shield us from the calamities you bring, and spare us the fate of eternal suffering. This most likely refers to what I already spoke about, which is the fact that after the fall of Hyperborea, the Scions decided to follow the frost moon, since the moon goddess was the only one who seemed to care about them. It was also probably the heavenly principles that was behind Hyperborea's fall, since celestial nails fell down, well, from Celestia, and the heavenly principles should be the only one capable of controlling that, which is probably why they are asking the frost moon to shield them from the primordial one's calamities. Then there is the prayer song 2, Maadteraahka, Mother of Life, which is another name for Naberius, the ruler of life. Hear me, O noble Maadteraahka, Mother of gods and mortals, from Hyperborea to Salvindagnir, your compassion is revered by all. This line is pretty interesting since it mentions both Hyperborea and Salvindagnir, which was the ancient civilization situated on today's Dragon Spine. I honestly don't know how exactly is Naberius supposed to be involved with Hyperborea or Salvindagnir, since I don't think we have any records about that. But we do know that Salvindagnir had many interactions with the divine envoys of the heavenly principles, before the heavens stopped responding and the celestial nail fell on their mountain. It's possible that these two civilizations were linked in some way, since they were supposed to be around in the same time, and both were heavily affected by the fall of the celestial nails after the Great War of Vengeance. You watch over a young woman, easing their suffering and granting safe passage through childbirth. You rejoice in fecundity, give life to the sublunary sphere, nurture all that grows in nature. You, mother of the waters, who birth a heart for the roaring primordial ocean. All the birds, beasts and fish in this world are yours, for you are the one who brought them into being. By your divine will, you shape mortal flesh as potter shapes clay. Therefore, I pray you bless this newborn child with health, courage and wisdom. Then we have the prayer song 3, Tuonetar, Mother of the Underworld, which is about Ronova, the ruler of death. O mistress of the dead, slow to be moved and without expression, O shadowy lady of the underworld, sombre, taciturn, fearsome Tuonetar. You abhor the arrogant and disrespectful, and from your grasp there is no escape. Your feet have trod both the humble hut and the gilded throne. The people fear you, for you see all, hear all, and judge all. We revere you for your boundless grace, and all-embracing nature. The fate of all living beings rests solely in your hands, and you remain unmoved no matter how fervent the plea. Yet noble and majestic goddess, we know that gentleness and mercy are your first nature. Just as you granted our ancestors liberation from suffering, and extended it not, O mistress of death, you who know the fates of all under the moon, accept our humble offering. The descendants of the far north beseech you, now that the golden bloodline has returned to your blossom, that you lead us across the nether's dark stream, and let us sleep eternal in a dreamless dream. Prayer Song 4, Laimelea, Mother of Time, is about Ishtaroth, the ruler of time, as you may have expected. O pure and eternal Mother of Time, sovereign who was never born and who shall never die. You create all and destroy all, you remember all and allow them to be forgotten. You who in the moment of your birth also gave birth to yourself. O Supreme Mother, you are the one stillness within the endless flow, the one outsider in the sacred courtyard of the gods. May you protect the 4 imprisoned moons. You are the outsider in the sacred courtyard of the gods, the one stillness within the endless flow. This thing about being an outsider among the gods is pretty interesting, and though it could be just a figure of speech, it could refer to several different things. First is that we know that in the distant past, she held mortals immensely, mainly throughout Enkanomiya. When everyone else abandoned its people, she was the one who still cared about them. She was also heavily involved with Mondstadt, and even entrusted a part of her power to Venti, or helped Raiden Makoto with the sacred Sakura in Inazuma. This would kind of make her an outsider, except we know that the other shades, maybe against the Heavenly Principle's will, helped mortals in their times of need. But there is one other thing about her that may be the reason behind her role as an outsider that's possibly hidden in the next few lines. Also, just as a side note, I have no clue what the 4 moons mentioned here mean. It could be that since she is connected to time itself, the 4th moon they mention here could rise sometime in the future and she already knows about it. Maybe Konbina will eventually have a new moon to rule over. I don't want to get too deep into these speculations. It could also be just symbolical or something like that. O Supreme Mother, who in the moment of your birth also gave birth to yourself, you remember all and allow them to be forgotten. You create all and destroy all, O Sovereign who shall never die, and who was never born, pure and eternal Mother of Time. If she is someone who gave birth to herself, as this text claims, and she was not necessarily created by the Primordial One the same way the other shades were, that could make her an outsider. They also say that she was never born and shall never die, which makes sense in a poetic way, since she is the ruler of time, but it also makes it seem like she may be even more important than the other shades, and also potentially older and more powerful as well. Then there would be the prayer song 5, but it's missing for some reason. It should have been about Asmodee, the ruler of space, and it's pretty suspicious that the one shade who was missing during the shades meeting in the God's Limits teaser is also missing in this part of the text. It almost seems like some sort of mental manipulation may have taken place here, but it doesn't make much sense, and it's hard to say at this point what exactly happened with Asmodee, and why it seems like, unlike the other shades, we have no info about her. Anyway, next there is the prayer song 6, Takoja Ianikuinen, the Primeval Blacksmith, which is about the Dragon King Nibelung. O great father of Genesis, forger of the earth's bones and triple moons, let your wrath ride that askew throne, so that the beauty may submit. This is about how Nibelung, who was born alongside Teyvat and was his primordial ruler, created the 3 moons. On the first day, you forge a golden bow with lunar gleam, a weapon meant to strike down your foes. Yet while you hunted, your bow was stolen, and now your enemy brandishes it as their own. I think that this line is about how Nibelung created the order that governed Teyvat, possibly even Celestia, but then the Primordial One came and stole the control over Teyvat from him and tries to make it seem like he's the true primordial ruler of this world. On the second day, you forge a great chariot, its moonlight glimmer meant to guard your home. Yet while you hunted, your vein was purloined, and your enemy claimed it as their own. I think this is about Nibelung creating the moons that were supposed to guard Teyvat once he was away seeking the worlds beyond. But once the Primordial One took over Teyvat, the moons also submitted to the Heavenly Principles. On the third day, you forged a shuttle of moonlight, your heart set on the daughter of the stars. Yet in your recklessness, you wandered into a fog-drenched swamp, and the forge of light was quenched. I think this is about him constructing something to travel the ones beyond, and the daughter of the stars could either be a metaphor, someone we haven't heard about yet, but it could also refer to the Voyager. Anyway, the swamp probably means the forbidden knowledge, and we know that before he was corrupted by it, he looked completely different than how he is depicted now, as a black dragon, on many murals and such. It's said that he had shining scales, and even some of the murals that depict him in that form make him look like a silver white dragon. You are the king spoken of, yet unspeakable, O bloodthirsty, murderous blacksmith. You are the master of misfortune, the lord of all evil, obsessed with the unjust deaths of the innocent and the ruinous fires of war. O terrible and mighty eternal workman, lord of two natures, so strong, hale, and heroic as the gods themselves. Even the stars look upon you in awe. O indestructible lord, please quiet this earth-shaking wrath. Lift the torment that occupies my heart, and cast out this pitch-black disaster. When they say that he was bloodthirsty here and all that probably refers to how he started the Great War of Vengeance after returning to Teyvat, which was a terrible tragedy in which many died and many things were destroyed. So this prayer was probably meant to tell Nibelung to calm down and stop the destruction, but also to cast out the abyss he brought to Teyvat. Then there is the prayer song 11, the goddess of the Dawnstar and apostle of the far north, Koitar and Seutervoinen. I call upon Koitar, wife of Seutervoinen, and first fairest daughter of the creator god. O generous maiden and bright morning star, your deeds are forever praised in music by the descendants of the far north. As I already said, Seutervoinen was the legendary voyager, and as we know, the youth she possessed and the first angel later fell in love. Koitar refers to the first angel. The descendants of the far north then are the Frostbound Scions, and as I already mentioned, the golden city where the voyager and the first angel plotted their rebellion against the divine was in the end destroyed by a celestial nail that fell from the sky, so they weren't able to achieve their goals and were cursed with eternal memory loss and separation. The cold wind of night cannot extinguish the silver flame within our chests, nor can its perilous darkness corrupt our hearts. One day we shall return home, through the wild grasses of the lonely graveyards, to the majestic golden city. I call upon you, Koitar, truly blessed, to cast our favor upon our conquests, even as you once subdued all nations with your might. I call upon you to shake the earth, to make the cities tremble, and to let the enemies of the far north vanish like dew beneath the frost moon. Then we have the prayer song 16, Saarelainen, the stranger of winter's day. Oh, let not the death pangs you suffered pass into me, lover of frost and winter. You cheerful, fair, kind-hearted lad, noble-born and nobly raised, a gentle and valiant son. Upon the starry steed, you rode across the forsaken isle of Hissi in the dark, mist-shrouded lands of Pohjola, there to court the daughter of Pakaisuko, that peerless beauty, at her home. Then old Pakaisuko, servant of our forebears, answered thus: he will grant the young lady's hand in marriage if you should open for him the gates of Pohjola. Cheerful, fair, kind-hearted one, you knew well that the wicked scheme, yet you went forth freely. For were you not to go, old Pakaisuko would have his gullible daughter suffer the punishment instead. In dark and foggy Pohjola, the lord of 7 calamities carved you into 7 pieces. And that young and pure girl, the daughter of Pakaisuko, shall never again be wed. O lost hero, I call upon you by your unspeakable name, you the healer of the world's sorrows and misfortunes. And may your grace still the winds of the frigid night, and bring warmth to the young birds huddled on the frozen earth. Saarelainen is very likely the third descender, also called the Stranger of Winter's Day. They literally said that the Lord of the 7 Calamities carved him into 7 pieces, and we know that his remains were indeed used to create the 7 Gnosis. He is also speculated to be a lover of the Tsaritsa, who should be Pakaisuko's daughter mentioned here, at least that's what I and many others believe at this point in time, especially since he is called the lover of Frost and Winter. It seems like he was someone respected by others, and Pakaisuko, the supposed previous Cryo Archon, granted him his daughter, who should be the Tsaritsa. If this is true, it would make a lot of sense why she's trying to collect all the Gnosis, maybe to once again meet with her lover, but this is a huge speculation. Anyway, so we know that the third descender was called Saarelainen. He traveled across the Hissi island, was connected to Snežnaja, and was most likely the Tsaritsa's lover. Pakaisuko granted him his daughter for the price of the third descender opening the gates to Pohjola for him. He ended up doing it, and this may also have been the reason why he angered the heavens. At some point, he was slain by the primordial one. After this, the Tsaritsa would never again be wed. Later, the heavenly principles and the one who came after carved his remains into 7 pieces, which became the Gnosis, which are very compatible with the elements and amplify elemental power. Just as a side note, some people noticed that the description of Saarelainen is very similar to that of the hero Ajax, and they may have been the same person, which could also explain many things. Also in this text, they depict Pakaisuko as someone who seems evil, so I wonder if that will become a theme once we finally explore the main parts of Snežnaja. But then there is the prayer song 21, Huurrekuutar, goddess of the frost moon, who was the previous frost moon goddess before Columbina appeared. O Huurrekuutar, mother of holy light, pray hear my pleas, and cast your gaze from on high. May your silent tears pierce the cold night, light a silver torch that never fades, and grant the people of the far north a guiding light. O Huurrekuutar, mother of the silver shuttle, hearken to my prayer and clothe the heavens in gentle veils. May your spun silver thread lead lost souls from the underworld's filth, that they may not lose their way in the cold night. O Huurrekuutar, wherever you lead, we shall follow, and your will shall be our law. Better that the cold night of death blind our sight, than that we sink in shame beneath a false light. This just seems to be a prayer made by the Frostmoon Scions, that revere the Frost Moon, and pledge to follow her lead. And lastly, there is the prayer song 22, Kuutar, the Moon Maiden, who is, as we all know, Columbina. O pure and flawless new moon, in the name of the messenger of the Frost Moon, I beg for your grace and mercy. Cleanse us of our sins, I pray, and wipe away endless pains and tears of those forever barred from Elysium. The Elysium here refers to nod-krai, as many people of Teyvat referred to it that way before. There is not much said to hear about Columbina, which makes sense, since at the time her birth was very recent, and compared to the previous Frostmoon goddesses, she lacks a lot of power and knowledge, so their current relationship with her is very complicated. But that will finally be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and that you learned something new about the lore from it. I think that at the point of me releasing this video, the Luna 2 special program should already be out, so I hope the information I presented here is still up to date. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say, so take care and I see you in the next one.